Did you ever sit on your Thomas MC80 to go on a ride, and you start the bike up and you ride for 500 meters and the bike dies? You try to start it again and the bike starts only when you open the choke. And then you try to ride with the choke open and the bike dies like after 100 meters again. And just keeps doing that and you don't know why. After like 100 meters it bugs out when you give it throttle, and if you completely stop, put it in neutral, the RPM will slowly rise up to normal or even beyond normal, and then you can ride again for like a little bit and then the bike will die again. This problem usually has something to do with the carburetor. This is the carburetor from my Thomas MC80, and today I'm gonna show you how to fix the bugging issue. So I've removed my carburetor here, and now I'm gonna also remove this air filter. Okay, now I removed the air filter. So here I got my carburetor. And now let's start with opening it. You got like 4 screws on this carb. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to unscrew those to separate the float bowl from this part of the carburetor up here. So I'm just quickly gonna unscrew those bolts. So when you unscrew all of the bolts, you can separate the float bowl from the other part of the carburetor. So this is the float bowl, and then you have a float which you can remove by taking this little metal rod out, and the float will come right off. With the float, like this needle, I think that's called a needle if I'm correct, sits on this float right here. You just slide it in like this, just so you know, because it can fall out if you are not careful with deassembling the carburetor. And you also have a gasket between the float bowl and the other part of the carburetor. And then you have the jets. I think this is called the main jet, and I think this is the pilot jet. I don't know what they're called in English exactly, but I think this is the main jet and this is the pilot jet. And if your bike is bugging out, you see these jets have you can use a flat screw to remove them. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna unscrew the main jet and I'm gonna unscrew the pilot jet, so I can show you why your bike could be bugging. So basically just normal screw, and you can just take it out like this. You see? So this was the main jet, and now the pilot jet. This is the pilot jet. And now, I think, and now you have to look through the jets and see if they are blocked by any dirt or any little particles that could be in them. That's why your bike might not be working, because the jets are blocked. You look through these jets, and if they're blocked, you just blow out the dirt. You just blow the dirt out or anything, and then you look again, and if it's clear, then that's why your bike was bugging, because the jets were blocked by any dirt or sand or whatever. You can see they are both clear. And now you might just put the car back together and go for a ride. Maybe one ride will go very well, smoothly, all good, but then you ride again, like a week later maybe, or just any time, and your bike starts bugging again. Why? Because you also have to look under this screw. It's like a little, fuel filter for when the fuel enters the carburetor. So you will need this 10mm, and you can unscrew this screw. So you unscrew it, and it reveals a fuel filter. Also, as you saw, as the bolt flew off, maybe you saw there's a little gasket in between. Don't lose this one. There's a gasket in between of the screw and the place for the filter. So now the filter comes out. You can see this little department in the carburetor. In here is a very little filter for the fuel. This little department and the filter might be blocked by a lot of dirt or anything. So when you clean the carburetor, you also clean this. So you clean the air filter, you clean the fuel filter, and you clean this little place where the air filter sits. You can clean this out with compressed air or really anything, but I don't have compressed air or the air compressor, so I'm gonna just find another way to clean it. So yes, as you can see, everything is pretty clean. Everything is clean now. You can also of course clean the rest of the carburetor, which I am also going to do. You can see a little grease here and stuff. I'm gonna clean this, and then we will reassemble the carb. Okay, so now that it's all clean and shiny, we can reassemble it. Which we are gonna do right now. So don't forget to put this gasket on here. But firstly, of course, the fuel filter. This is the screw. The filter comes right on here, like this, and the gasket comes over the screw, of course. And now you just screw this into this compartment which is made for it. So you can just screw this thing in. Don't screw it in too hard, you know. Do it with nicely, you know. Now we got the pilot jet. This is the smaller one. Goes in the hole for it. You also screw it in, but also again not too hard. And the same goes for the main jet. Like this. All of the jets are in, and now you take the float, and this needle, as I said, comes right on here. It goes on just like this, just by sliding the needle into this tiny little hole. I don't know why the camera doesn't focus. Sorry about that, but as you can see, the needle just slides in like this from the side in the place, and then this needle comes into this where the fuel filter is. In this biggest hole here comes the needle. You can see. Here's the needle going in, and you also need this metal rod to put the float back into place. Just like this. Now the float is in, and now you take the gasket, put it in, and now you screw on the float bowl. But if the float bowl is also dirty, you should also clean it, but mine isn't, so I'm not gonna clean it. But if your float bowl is also dirty, you should clean it. And then you just put it on like this, and you just screw everything in place again. You screw everything on, and then you're good to go. And yes, that's basically it. Now your problem with your bike bugging out every few meters should be fixed. You just put the carburetor back onto the bike. Of course, don't forget to put the air filter on before, you know. Now just put the carb on. You can see very nicely cleaned. You just put the carburetor onto the bike. Throttle cable, of course, goes in here, and here's the choke. You mount it like this on the bike. You put the cable in, choke in, you slide it on, and then your bike should run alright. Then your bike should run very good. But you can also play around if you don't have it set up already with these two screws. This is the air screw, and this is the air fuel mixture screw. To screw it in, you make it leaner. To screw it out, you make it richer. As well as the same goes for this one. You screw it in, you let less air in, and you screw it out, you let more air in. So that's it. I hope it was helpful. Smash the subscribe button, like the video, and I will see you in the next one.